I mean, you won't be needing the notebooks just yet. We're actually going to start off just by centering ourselves mainly back into the heart center. As you can tell, it's called Dreaming from the Heart. What did I say? Okay, so this is called Dreaming from the Heart, and there's some interesting facts here from a company called HeartMath, who studied the heart scientifically and find its energetic properties and what it can do throughout the body. So it's not just a pump to pump around blood. It's so much more than we can ever imagine. So let's have a look. This is my books. I'm the author of Spirit Guide Lucid Dreaming. Some of you may know this. On the right, there is a how-to free download of my Lucid Dreaming Dreamscape Volume 1 when you subscribe. So check it out. There's the website at the top. Just a bit of marketing there, so it's got to be done. It's got to be done. So if we can all just, we're going to close our eyes. If you can just put your feet flat on the ground. Now for the next few hours, this is a kind of a different kind of talk in regards to lucid dreaming. It's more about switching off the mind and coming more into the heart center, a place where we don't actually have to think, and the mind, the heart will do all the thinking for you. It's like autopilot. So just keep that in mind throughout the whole process. So if you just close our eyes. And now, if you can put our hands together, like this, and in front of your chest area, like a prayer, so like this. This will balance your yin and yang energies around the body. Now I'm going to stop talking now. We're just going to just be in this position for a couple of minutes, and just note any sensations anywhere around the body, and just clear your mind, and breathe deeply. Pay attention to the heartbeat. And breathe. Okay, if I had to slowly open your eyes and come back to the physical reality. It's just a little something just to center ourselves. Do you feel any sensations right now compared to how you felt before?
Relaxed.
Relaxed?
Slightly relaxed.
Yeah. It's more balanced, isn't it? More centered. Okay. So this is a small, quick video just to see what heartmath.org do. Okay, so as you can see that they've done a lot of scientific research through a lot of different mediums, and they've worked out the energetic structure of the heart. So not only is it the organ, it is now an energetic resource to attract what you want in your life. They say it's actually, I don't know how much, but it's about 400 times, I think, more electromagnetic than the actual human brain. See, since the beginning of time, we've kind of been programmed to believe that the brain is the master tool for the thinking and the working out of things and just doing all the logical, mundane things. And there are obviously psychic parts to the brain, like the pineal gland, which we're all aware of maybe in the center of the brain. But really, it's about the heart, and it's so much more cognitive than they ever thought. So this is why I've called it the true oracle. A lot of Osho's work as well, if you research a lot of Osho, he speaks about how it's the true oracle. It's the place where you can find all your answers, whatever you're searching for, whatever life you're going for, if it's a spiritual journey or if it's just trying to find a new job, if you need to find the answers, it's not by thinking, it's by tuning into the inner world of your heart. And we'll get further and further into this talk and we'll understand a bit more why it is that. So, as you can see, we have the mind, and as you can see, we have the heart. So they almost seem two opposing forces, and I don't want to come across like they are opposing at all, because you need to be in balance with your body, as many of us know, and to be centered. But the mind itself can be used as a loyal servant, not as the master key, not as the master, which is what Osho always says. So you use it as a loyal servant. Here we have the mind on one hand and the heart, but it's on a, I think they call this, what is that called? Is it not pendule, scales? I think in France they call it that. But it's balanced either way. It's not like, you could be too much in your mind, so this will be a lot down here, or too much in your heart. It's not so much about one being better than the other either. It's about finding a balance, but also being completely aware that the heart is the driving force. Here we go. So right now, as we know, there is a shift, or you may not know there is a shift going on in the universe. They call it the age of Aquarius, where we are now moving into the heart center. So we're now opening up on a more loving, compassionate nature towards each other. And there are symptoms, physical symptoms, that you will go through when your heart chakra, which is just in the center here of your chest, when it starts to open up. And I've had these, and I'm still having them actually, and this is why I've been inspired to do the talk. So let's look at the physical symptoms of what you could expect. So you can have intense heartburn. I mean, a lot of people may think it's quite, physical, maybe they don't do enough exercise. I think differently, but that's how I just intuitively feel it's, I have a good diet. I never get heartburn, and I've been having a lot of heartburn lately. You can get it from curries, yeah.
What does that feel like?
What, having a curry? It's lovely. There's many in East London. No, I'm joking. But the heartburn, it's like a real fiery, and these are all energetic shifts that's going within you because it's expanding. So it needs to release and expand the area and the meridians unblocking. And
yeah, I get something, but I'm not sure what it is.
Right.
Like a sort of tightening and then a sort of ache.
Yeah.
And then it lasts for sort of a few minutes.
Yeah, but that's cardiac arrest.
No, I did actually. I did go to the doctors and have an ECG and everything like a few years ago for it, and the doctor was nothing wrong with me.
Exactly. I had a full health check as well, and he says I'm completely fine. And so that is a very common symptom. Nausea as well. Feelings of just feeling woozy and just irregular heartbeat. I've had this many times. It's like you're just walking in the street and all of a sudden it goes like it just skips a beat, and it's like, whoa, that was a bit strange. You're like, oh, that can happen. You've had that, right?
Yeah, I actually had an operation for an irregular heartbeat.
Right.
4 years ago.
Okay.
Obviously not from, I don't think, but this is before I knew about Lucid.
Yeah.
But I get them regularly, once a week or once every couple of days anyway. So
right. Okay. Oversensitivity, because it is the chakra of love, compassion, and just pure unconditional love. You can be really sensitive. Like I was watching a post office advert about stamps. I was like, that's the beautiful thing. I was really just filling up. I was like, what's wrong with you? And I was, or someone says something like, oh, and I am sensitive anyway, but not that sensitive. Like this is really oversensitivity. It's just a high peaking version of it.
My readings for clients as well, I feel like a lot of the information sort of, I feel it around in my chest.
Yeah.
As well as seeing things, images and
right.
hearing words, I get this a real sense of something about something, whatever.
Yeah.
And that always comes from the chest.
Because I've had a lot of it feels like someone's actually sitting on your chest, like a huge lead weight, just and it's a lot of heaviness. the aching and that, yeah. So this can happen. Obviously, if you're working on the heart chakra as well, I mean, for me, at the beginning of the year, I decided to go really into it because synchronicities were speeding up and my spirit guides from the other realm was kind of pushing me in towards this direction of the heart is really where your focus should be, for whatever the reason may be, but you'll find out later on. And I just kept on going into that area, really.
Question.
Yes,
When
please.
you're thinking too much about things, you realize you're too much being dragged up into a thought world. It's very difficult without actually doing something, or some event or something. It's very difficult without an outside thing to shift the heart. I mean, normally other things outside oneself that
Of course.
pull on the heart, and it's really in oneself that the thought goes. So I really don't know. You can think about.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Heart, but you're using the thinking about it.
Well, the slide before was the balance, and there is a few more slides after. It will all become clear about what the ancients actually originally gave us in terms of information and the way they married the two up is wonderful, and we'll get to that. Yeah, but
I can sympathise with what you're saying. Like for me, a while, I was thinking about opening the heart consciousness, but it was all coming from here, and I was overthinking the process. And it wasn't until the process started to happen just a little bit from here that I noticed what the difference was, and it just feels completely different. It's like it's not coming from a thought; it's coming from something else.
But you're aware that you can differentiate between the two.
Only after it happened. For the years before that, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking from heart consciousness, but it wasn't. It was all coming from here, trying to put focus to it, and it wasn't. That was something different. It was only when the compassion started naturally, just a little bit more than what I had before.
Yeah.
So, this feels different. So I totally understand what you're saying. It can be different.
Yeah.
Because the mind is clever, isn't it? Tries to convince.
Oh yeah. It'll do this thing where you have to try and get to the heart. So now you have to think to get to the heart. And now you think, well, is that like a fake version of it? Or, you know what I mean? And it does do that. But then it becomes a place of being as opposed to having to go here to here. But we'll understand why. And flu-like symptoms, very common, yeah. And focus on the chest area. If you want to know more about these ascension symptoms.
What about, not flu-like symptoms, but I have really extreme sort of, like not allergic, but kind of sneezing. And it's all the time. Like hay fever, but it's not hay fever all the time because I get it in the winter. I get it all the way through the year.
And you didn't have that before?
No, this is something that started in the last sort of 4 years, and it's getting worse.
And would you say you've been doing a lot of work on yourself energetically?
I'm definitely a million times happier in the last 6 months than I've probably ever been.
Yeah, it can take a beating on your immune system quite a lot, I think. I mean, I'm just speaking like what I've been experiencing. I mean, you could be one of those that thinks, well, maybe there's a lot of germs out there, a lot of viruses and stuff. And that is the case. We do obviously get ill. But these symptoms are different. That's all I can say. Yeah. And it seems to come at the same time or around that same period of releasing because it's expanding. The chakra is,
I feel like I'm getting
bigger.
all of those right now.
Yeah. Don't focus on this too much. We've got a stretcher for cars, yeah. And then we have this guy, which is a cartoon character that I designed, called Dr. Lucid. And he's got the chakras all coloured. I thought it was quite cool. My brother actually drew him. It's based on Einstein. But you can see him on YouTube, and this is the address. He goes through all the different symptoms that one would expect from the Golden Age period, which really started from the 21st of December 2012. But if you want to go into the whole Mayan calendar thing, but I don't want to go too much into detail about that. Oh, sorry?
Not the Elizabethan era then.
No. But yeah, check that out. It's a great video about the symptoms. Okay, so this whole talk was really inspired from this one lucid dream, or spirit-guided lucid dream. As many of you know, I meet my spirit guides. And I finally met, officially, the second in command of my spirit family. And I know there's quite a few, probably 5, but I'm not too sure yet. I definitely have one that I know very frequently called Clifftop. I know him very well. The second one is this lady here called Leanne. Spelled, does it come on? I don't know. Yeah, she's pretty hot. Yeah.
Leanne looks exactly like her.
She's pretty. Oh, really? It's probably her in physical form. Yeah. Well, they can change their face, but this was her at the beginning, and
Does she have a boyfriend?
I will ask her for you. Okay. But I finally got the name because I've been trying to get his name, and she's been dipping in and out of my reality or dream reality for some time now. And for some reason, I wasn't inclined to even go deeper into finding out who she was. But she finally presented herself to me, and now I can officially say I have a second spirit guide, which is great. And they work together. Whether or not they're a couple, I don't know, but who knows. But this whole talk was inspired from this very amazing spirit guided lucid dream. She basically, well, I morphed into my old family house, which is a big 16th century old house with a huge kitchen, big Aga in the countryside somewhere. But all my dreams seem to stem from this one big house. It was haunted as well, so a lot of ghostly figures there. Now, I appeared in this kitchen, exactly how it was. I was lucid. I knew I was in a lucid dream. And then she was there, and she said, "Come on, Nick, I want to show you something." And she pointed over to the area near the window, near the sink, and there was this holographic chest, and I knew it was mine. I could see my exact body, but holographic, and I could, if that makes any sense, holographic or transparent is probably the better term. And I could see my own heart. It was beating. It was really, really amazing. And I saw it like that. It was exactly my body. And I was like, wow. And I got really close up to it. And I was like, wow, wow, wow. And the more I got closer, I started just working out every little detail. And then all of a sudden, the heart changed into some kind of morph and just sort of disintegrated and turned into a beam of light. Like as you see these strobes. So the heart turned into light. And that for me was a really big clue of, a message of it is transformation. And maybe that is the goal, to become the light body. A lot of Buddhist traditions talk about the light body, and attaining that light body. But it was pure light, and it was a loving, beautiful feeling I had over me. Intuitively, I felt, wow, this is really something. I wanted to know if you could go into your lucid world and work on different chakras representing in different rooms. And we all know that, well, I don't know if you know, but the kitchen is also called, the kitchen is the heart of the home. It's a saying, right? I thought that was a bit funny. So maybe if you can go into your kitchen of a familiar house that you were brought up in, and maybe you could just morph that and imagine that you can, something that's quite prevalent in your memory of a house that you have a lot of childhood memories, maybe you could go into there and work on your heart chakra by maybe just focusing attention on the heart within the kitchen.
Into your house? Do you mean you morphed into your house? So you were your house? Or do you mean you morphed into the house?
Morphed into the house. Right. Transitioned, should I say. Yeah, you don't, no. I was just as my dream self, and I was walking through exactly how I would do. But it was a very loving point. And then she turned around and I said, "Leanne, what is this? Tell me more about it." And she says, "You need to let your heart sing." And then at the time, I was trying to find out a way of releasing, because the heart chakra, when you go into it, you tend to have a lot of old resentment, a lot of maybe some old jealousy. You keep a lot of things tight in there, like in a box. And for me, I had a lot of hang-ups about me singing, and I didn't want to sing again because I used to be a singer back in the day, R&B singer. And then I kind of went bitter about it because I just couldn't get anywhere after 15 years. So I had this all caught up still in my heart. And she said, "You just need to sing." And I thought, okay. So then I got a guitar and I started playing guitar and in physical reality, and I was just releasing it. It felt good. And Clifftop as well was showing me guitars and playing, just making sure that I got the message, just play and just sing. And we'll get to know about what you can do creatively to release that. It's all about letting your spirit free and not letting this control center take over.
What does the heart chakra traditionally represent? What are its particular characteristics?
Infinite love, unconditional love, joy, happiness, compassion. I can't think of any more words, but all the amazing things. But the flip side of that, if you've got a heart chakra that's not really opening and it's not rotating as much as it should, like the wheel, it can have the flip side of jealousy. And obviously, this is self-love as well as here as well, a lot of self-love. So how much do you really love yourselves? I'm first one to put my hand up, you know, I'm working on that, and you know, it takes many, many years to fully love yourself. Can you safely say, I love myself, and not feel like, you know, you deserve it, you deserve to love yourself. So having this heart chakra open and being more open to it, you just love yourself more, in a non-egotistical way, obviously. It's more about this, and then you can love others at the same time. I believe that's where the healing starts. That's my opinion. Okay, so how does it relate to dreaming now? Okay. So higher realms to experience. We're going to touch on astral projection and out-of-body experiences a little bit, and lucid dreams. I think because I think we've all had a lucid dream in here, right? Or if not, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So who has had a lucid dream? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So when you do become aware that you are within a dream, you can actually transition the dream into another plane if you want to change the experience. And I hate to say higher because it's kind of misleading. It's not so much levels going from bottom to top. It's just another type of experience. And you can find a way to actually use the heart to actually transition into these planes. And that's what I discovered through a lot of experimenting in my lucid world. I seem to be able to just jump and focus on love and compassion, and particularly through the heart, and I seem to vibrate in my dream body ridiculously. It seems to create so much energy, and not just because you intellectually know that it's a good thing to do, to focus on the heart, because then it's the mind. You're focusing on the real power, and maybe think of a really amazing, loving memory that you have within you, and remember that memory to actually transition. But it's different for everyone, but that's generally what I experienced. Has anyone else experienced anything where you can transition that into a different form of lucid dream, or do you just have the one existence in the dreamscape? Yeah, you most of that. Okay, so let's look at these different planes briefly. I don't want to go too much into detail, but planes of existence. It's quite cool, the little symbols there. On the bottom right, we have the Buddhic template for the different realms. Throughout ancient history, there are these planes which do exist. You've got the physical, etheric, astral planes, mental, spiritual.
Can I ask
yes.
one thing? The etheric, I get a bit confused because the astral tell me where the dreams are and the O.B.Es and all that level of state of consciousness. The etheric seems, why is it in between? Is it less spectacular or less impressive than the astral?
It's a very good question. I mean, I think if we look at it in linear terms, from bottom to top, we tend to think that to go up is better. And I don't necessarily think that is, in my case, in my experiences, I don't think that is the case. It just gives you a different type of plane, and each plane represents different rules or different elements in which you can experience. For example, when I go into a realm where I'm mixing with it, there seems to be a realm where there's a lot of different beings at the time who are also having these experiences. Beings, not projections from your subconscious, but beings that are like you and me. And if you read my book, you'd probably know that there is a difference between projections from your subconscious mind and spirit beings which are actually having the dream experience at the same time. And there seems to be a plane or many other planes like that where you can actually meet and just congregate. So it's like, you know, you go to a youth club for the night or whatever, or a club, but in dreamland or in lucid dreamland, and you just mix and share stories and learn from each other. There could be someone who's having this experience from across the universe. And I think that's how our consciousness is. It's more interwoven. So we're not just having our experiences within ourselves, on planet Earth, we mix with other beings, I believe, or I feel that in my experiences. But to answer your question, the etheric, I'm not too sure, if I'm honest. And I think this is just one template for an interpretation of the different planes. There's many more different interpretations of this. There's the atmic planes, I think, angelic realms.
If you go to Buddhism, there's the 10 bhumis.
10 bhumis.
Some say the dimensions, some say different levels of existence, how they relate to etheric or astral is purely speculative.
Yeah.
It's just different cultural ways of explaining the same things.
And maybe they don't fully know, because what cannot be fully tangible cannot be certified, or, you know.
Well, the effort's supposed to be the one that's, isn't it supposed to be like the one that's very kind of similar, like the duplicate to this world?
Etheric planes, so it's,
Like fourth dimension, the transition between here and the fifth, which is fourth consciousness.
Yeah, and then the astral, again, there's a lot of debate. Mental plane, I was never very comfortable with that term. I don't really understand why they
Everyone's just mental.
kind of mental, I guess.
You don't want to go there.
But what they're, you know, talking about on that level is everything is just so amazingly crystal clear.
There is another model as well, which I'd like to show you. This, for me, feels better, because I've been through many dream wormholes with my spirit guide. I call these long strings dream wormholes, and he seems to take me to different places that I couldn't get to alone. I made this map, yep. No. I'm joking. It's great, isn't it? So you've got the mortal world. It's like Gandalf, isn't it?
Yeah, where did you get it?
No, I just found enough of the informational world of the computer world. But I tell you, I can confirm that I have a very strong memory of a plane which I went to, which I'm not very fond of, but I did go to it, and I think you can guess what it is. It's the elemental chaos, and I went to the ground level, and
Why is one of them called the City of Beers?
Where's that?
Underneath elemental chaos.
this one, no, it's brass. City of Brass. Some guy went there and went, right, this one's called City of Brass, and he wrote it down in his astral pen and paper. But yeah, my spirit guide, I think about, when was it, 3 years ago? In my book I talk about meeting Horus, the Egyptian god. And he just suddenly took me from a wonderful place. I was like really in this sunlit, I don't know, port with lots of boats and people having fun and like celebration. Then I said, please take me somewhere, you know. And he goes, okay, because he'll take me to my next teaching of what I needed to learn. And he took me down to what felt like hell. It really was. It was like this.
Look like that too.
Yeah.
Similar.
And I met, it's very much like this, fiery pits. I met Horus. Well, I say Horus, but it was this guy. He was like a human, and then he was like a hawk on top. Very, very tall, like 20 feet. It's ridiculous. And I was like, oh my God, where have you taken me? Thanks. My spirit guide left. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my own, great. And I'm running down. Well, not running down, I was walking down first, and I was like, I could see one squawking across the pits of hell. I was like, this is a bit weird. And I was fully, obviously conscious that I was in this, you know, fully aware, fully lucid. And then, to my surprise, there was one of them, another one, walking towards me on this little small path with lots of, just lots of, I don't know, things, and it was just nasty, and it was just fire, and it was not very nice. And as I went past, I was like, okay, so let's just keep quiet. He can't see me because he's that tall, so he's just looking straight ahead. So I'm just, you know, okay, please. I mean, I know there's no fear really, but I was scared. Like he meant business, you know. So then he walks past, and then I just accidentally scrape him with my, I don't know what is it, astral arm on his big thigh, and he goes, raw, and he goes, whoa, and then I just run. I'm like, oh my God! I actually felt fear for the first time. I was like, oh my God, this never happened. And then all of a sudden, at the end, there's this really random object, and it is this. Let's do that again. It's a heart chest, right? No, I said chest. Heart, chest area. And it was rainbow colored, all the chakras. It was beautiful. I was like, this is so random. Why is it even there in the fiery pit of hell? That's a bit weird, isn't it? So this guy's running after me. I'm running, and then the chest opens. It goes, whoosh, and obviously I've got to jump in there. That's my wormhole to get out. And then I hear my spirit guide from deep within. He goes, get in. So then I jump in. And then I feel his claws or whatever they were just like scrape my feet as I'm going in. But then I managed to just, get in just in the nick of time. Then the wormhole takes me, and then we appear in another realm. Now, looking back on it, yeah, it would seem a bit, frightening. I've only just now worked out what all that meant, and it is totally his way, my spirit guide, sending me to what represented hell in my mind, or maybe there is a real hell, I don't know, but it was a representation. He made me realize that by going into the heart, no matter how fearful you are, it will always save you. That was the key message for me. And I thought that was a real turning point in my life. So every time then I became lucid, or any time I ended up anywhere, there was nothing anyone could ever do to make me feel any fear at all, ever, because I had the worst. And I got given the challenge of overcoming it by going into my heart center. And then months after, I sort of worked out that the heart is really so misunderstood. And for me, that was the point of my center, and to overcome major fear within waking reality and your dream reality. So let's just move on to something a bit on the same cusp. So we're only going to go into the darkness a little bit. Obviously, we want to keep it nice and peachy, right? It's about the heart. But nevertheless, we shouldn't be afraid of it. You need to integrate with the dark, like the yin-yang, and we'll explain about that shortly. So when you have expectations of coming out of your body, or more so when you have actual out-of-body experiences, what you expect to appear in will be the result of what your imagination has offered to you. Or you could look at it in a sense of where you want to appear will be where you appear, if this makes any sense. Astral blindness is very common. People expect to, because they're already fearful from going through the tunnel, we call it a tunnel, which is like a place of transitioning. I don't know if you call it many different terminologies. When you have the vibrational state, or when you are getting into your lucid dreaming, and you can have expectations of appearing in a dream with no eyes. And it does actually, you appear, you are conscious you're in a dream, or a dreamlike environment, and yet you cannot see. Astral blindness is very common. I think for most people, when they start out, they have this expectation of not really knowing what's on the other side, which causes the blindness. So then they ask you to morph, I say morph, but imagine with thought eyes, and just get rid of those eyelids, and then you just open your eyes. Just imagine opening your eyes, and then you are in a room or in an environment which supports your expectations.
When you say astral blindness, what do you mean, like in terms of clarity?
It can be muggy, yes. It can also be muggy. I find it's, for me, I'm only speaking from experience, I've had astral blindness many times. And I've also had a muggy vision. So with lucid dreaming, you appear, if you've not had enough, I call it dream energy, or if you've not had if it's kind of a weak sort of stability within the lucid dream, I find that it can be very hazy, very blurry. And then you ask for clarity, you shout clarity now, and then it becomes really crisp.
I was puzzled a few times that we woke up in a kind of lucid dream, and it was very dark and muggy. And I just wondered after, is it really a high sense of awareness? Because finally you're asleep with your eyes shut, or whatever you see is dreaming. I mean, I had a few I was lost in darkness. I thought I was out low energy drive and all this.
Yeah, it can happen.
I wondered whether it's not a sort of awareness, something to tell you, look, you couldn't be lucid, but you're not
Ability to do with chi.
Yeah.
This is something that I learned from the session.
And what would affect chi?
Well, I mean, if you're high in chi energy, when you're lucid dreaming, you're going to have more energy to concentrate, to focus, so your core consciousness will be stronger because you have the energy to power that. This is just my feeling.
But emotionally attached to the chi, how would that be? Do you understand what I'm saying? Attached to emotion, which is what we're talking about here, to the energy, the chi.
But the chi is the energy.
It is, but you can also get fearful energy. I find there's
About natural prana, your natural prana.
yeah, you pick that up throughout the day. It depends how many intentions you set and how much meditation and the right foods and the herbs and whatever. But I find that by being in a fearful state just before you sleep, or if you have a lot of stuff going on in your head from your waking reality, if you're under a lot of stress, maybe you're thinking about things too much or whatever, that can hinder the actual chi within the dream state. We were talking about it earlier, weren't we?
Well, I used to get frustrated with that. And then now I just think, oh, it passed. It always does.
Can it hinder the chi within the dream state and getting into the lucid dream in the first place? Can it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've managed to squeeze into a lucid dream under immense stress, but it's very difficult. And going back to the vision, it was all incredibly blurry, and then it ended within about 5 seconds because it was very, very small, the amount of whatever you call that energy, dream energy, chi.
Yeah, because I've had astral travels where I felt my energy start to drain, and subsequently my focus diminished, and so I couldn't concentrate as hard to the point that it was physically exhausting.
But this is what this is all about. I'm glad you brought that up.
But you can do exercises when you're in that low state to amp it right up.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I didn't know that at the time, so.
I've absorbed chi before within the dream state. I was telling some guy from last night, where you get your palms, and you just imagine your energy centers here, and just go, and just imagine that it's coming into you, and you just feel your body vibrate.
You do it the other way too. You do it at the dream.
Oh, really?
It's so vivid. It's
Okay.
insane. Do
Wow.
things. It's incredible.
That's interesting. I also did another one which was doing an R sound. If you're into a lot of deep meditation, R is a sound of manifestation. And I just went, okay, let's go for it. I went, ah, like this. And then it sounded like 1,000 people going, ah, bellowing out of the dreamscape. And I was just immense power. I was like, what? But I don't know if that's because I perceive it as that. Yeah. Yeah. And you'd be so amazed, like how, I mean, we've all had those ways that you can just suddenly just transition to such a crisp, detailed, vivid kind of thing. And
Can I just say, it's fantastic. Every single person I've heard has said, O.B.E, and that everything you can do, energy work, Tai Chi, just simple exercise. Now, okay, that's good. I'm trying to do it, Tai Chi.
Yeah.
But, I mean, once you get into the dream and you do anything, energy work inside the dream as well as before, that's going to burst it. But how, if you're only limited lucid, do you remember to do it in the dream?
Right, yes, exactly.
Yeah, you have
Yes,
to think of
it's a
it,
very good point.
Then you can't lose.
Exactly.
If I do Tai Chi in the dream, there's nothing to stop it.
Because it kind of affects your thinking capability as well, if your vibration is low within the lucid dream, I find. That's how I perceive it.
So you've got to put a tag if you feel low energy or any time in energy.
Well, then
the best is to start doing Tai Chi and energy work. So how do you remember to do that?
I think the more you do it, it sounds very mundane, but the more you actually go into it and actually program it into your subconscious to then, as soon as you arrive, energize up, and you make it into a regular practice, energize up. But don't fall into the trap of doing the same one, because the subconscious recognizes it and then it seems to lose its power for some reason. Keep it random, keep it different, so maybe learn a few different ways of absorbing the energies. We're going to go into a lot of setting your spirit free, because essentially, no matter how many things you try and work out, and no matter how many things you think, okay, if I do this, if I do that, it all boils down to one simple fact, and that is the heart. That's what I feel. But don't take my word for it.
It's funny when I had my first AD, I got shot out and it was through the heart centre, very distinctly through the heart centre, and nowhere else, and it was really intense.
Right.
Like Starship Enterprise at warp speed out through the heart centre, and I knew I was going out through the heart centre. It was really weird, actually. Really unexpected.
I mean, just play around as well, like an experiment. When you are lucid in your worlds, just focus the area around the heart and recognize any sensations. There's many things. So we need to replace fear of the unknown with curiosity. This is one of my biggest fears in my early days, because you don't know what's there, or what you hear stories or whatever. So instead of having that fear of the unknown, replace it with curiosity. And just trust that everything's going to be cool. And that one line says it all. You want to be curious. Because if you are fearful, you will attract the fear. But integrate with the fear as well, which is why I studied the yin-yang for a while. Is everyone familiar with this? Yeah? I'm going to put it in really simple terms. So basically, this is a universal way, it's a universal law of balance, equilibrium within the universe. The dark and the light have to exist together. I take it we're all light warriors in this room, and most of us are. The human, I don't want to get too deep on it, but the human soul is a beautiful thing. And yet there are entities out there which are from a lower vibration, if you like to call it that. And we shouldn't deny that. We shouldn't deny that they exist because of fear. Because then what? You're not replacing it with curiosity. You need to integrate with it. Integrate it in a sense of know it's there, but remain centered. You see, within the white, you have a black circle. And with the black, you have a white. So no matter how bad it gets, there's always a little hope, which is the white circle. Exactly. It's balance. So even the universe is on this operating thing. You could study this for hours and you can come up with so many different ways of looking at it, but just this is a wonderful way to understand the real nature of the heart and the body itself, because we are a replica on a smaller scale to the planet Earth, to the universe. When you look at that symbol, your subconscious already knows what it means, because it has these symbols embedded into its memory. That's what they say. We can recognize symbols before our language. The symbol itself is just subconsciously working in our minds as we look at it. And even sacred geometry, if you look at that every night, like tarot cards, you can actually change your biochemical nature. You can change your DNA and upgrade it by looking daily at sacred geometry. That's another area. That's a whole talk within itself. But going back to, okay, so we have the mind, okay? We have the heart. Now your question earlier was, how do we marry these together? How can we keep this balance unified? And I'm going to get this guy to do a little video for me. Greg Braden. He's done a lot of scientific spiritual research on the heart. So here we have the 7 chakras. And this is how we marry up the two, the mind and the heart. Just to recap. So you got the top 3, which are imbued with the thought, and then the emotion, which is where we have all these emotions from down here. And then the union of the thought and the emotion goes into the heart center, and then that's how we manifest things in our life. That's how we create our worlds. So what are you putting out there? Do you love yourself? Okay, so maybe I don't really feel I love myself. I'm just saying, I'm just using me as an example. So all I'm doing is I've got this thought from whatever childhood memory, or maybe my mum wasn't really good to me or whatever, or past karmic debt or whatever. And then the emotion of that, feeling of this, not feeling very loved and whatever, then goes into the union of the heart, which then manifests. This is how we manifest things. This is how we bounce out towards the universe, to source, if you like, and then it bounces back exactly what we're sending out. And that's all and then you perpetuate it. It just keeps growing and growing and growing, whatever that may be. On the upside, it could be about love. If you're sending out love, if you're sending out compassion, joy, all this high vibrational feelings, you've got the thought of that, you can start here. Start with thought, in a meditation. Start whatever you want to create, but then feel the emotion. So they say, visualize is good. Visualize it. Is everyone visualized in a meditation? It's quite common, right? You visualize. Do you meditate? No? It's wonderful. We can speak after about it if you like. But yeah, you can visualize into a very calm state. Visualize anything. Visualizing is okay, but it's not enough. You need to have the emotion of it. So you need to really believe and feel that you are in that visualization. You need to feel that. So you walk in a park, and this is your visualization, and you have a wonderful big wooden house, and you want to manifest that wooden house in the countryside. Visualize it, and then walk around. Feel the wood. Get the emotion in there, This is the way we can manifest things, whatever it may be. If you want more money, imagine that you're holding thousands and thousands of pounds in your hand. and feel. But you got to have the feeling that it's now. Imbue the feeling, and from the emotion, and then that's it. The union comes together, and that is how we go. And it always seems to feel like that. And now I can safely say that within my meditations, I can feel that there's an energy current now. Now I've made that little shift in my focus. When I'm in that state, I have a thought, and if I want to manifest it, all of a sudden I feel this energy goes down, builds, and I build the emotion, and then it comes up. I can feel it, like chi. You can feel the chi moving around. You become that sensitive the more you do it. And how this relates to dreaming, if you want to have more lucid dreams, imbue the emotion that it's all coming together. And I mean, this is not just dreaming from the heart. You're dreaming. You can dream your waking reality. This is huge, right? You can. I mean, you can have lucid dreams. You can have everything. But you can also create exactly what you want in this reality. And I'm not saying I'm doing it. Otherwise, I'll be some kind of penthouse in California instead of in London. But I'm Mr. Big Shot talking about it. But no, but it really is that. And I think I'm now getting into the habit now of really coming into these and binding the two. Well, I was very much separated between, okay, it's mind, and then I was in a battle with no, it's just the heart, no, I'm not moving, and no, this is the mind, and then I was in a battle. But now I saw Greg Braden and his beautiful hair. I can now have the template because of what the ancients have given us. And this also, this model has been throughout other cultures, ancient cultures as well. They always say thought, emotion, feeling, and how it always goes back to the center. And they must know something, right? I mean, the pyramids are just mind-blowing.
Emotion and feeling, are they so different? Feeling is...
Well, emotions...
Is more primitive, or...
Yeah, I think from the root, especially the root chakras, where the sexual energy is.
Are we in control of emotions?
I say, well, sexual urges, are you in control of them? Can you be celibate?
But is that
Do you know what I mean? There you go.
feeling than emotion?
Done. I choose the words, yeah. But,
Depends what time of the month it is.
yeah. And it does seem like these. So what you're saying is these are very similar. You need to.
Yeah, I talk about.
Okay, so let's change the word feeling then maybe to manifesting, possibly. To creation. This is where we create. Like the center of the universe is where creation happens, and it creates within us. We are the universe within us.
It seems to me that the feeling is more of an intuitive upswelling or something, whereas an emotion is a reaction.
Right.
Something else.
Yeah, well, exactly. Okay, so here's an example. Say you're stressed. I'm going for the dark one again, and maybe you're a bit fearful, whatever. The emotions are stirring up. And then what it does is it has to manifest because it needs to, this is how it operates in this system. And then it comes out and it creates.
You almost go to the four functions, thinking, speech, sensation, intuition.
Right.
I mean, that's not on that scale, but I mean, you can feel something, or you can think about something, or you can actually have a sensation. I mean, for me, feeling is sort of there, it's an intuition. I know you've upgraded the idea that feeling is manifestation.
Well, I mean, this is just what the ancients have been saying with those three particular models. And then I guess through all the cultures and other minds and how we all interpret things a little bit differently, I generally think they're all talking about maybe the same thing, I think, but in their own way. But where does it end up? At the center. Always goes back to the center, whichever way you look at it. And that.
You have to think about what the chakras represent. So your base chakra, your sex chakra, your navel chakra, they're much more like down, so they're rooted into more sort of primordial urges. Primordial. To your sex drive, to earth, and so they have a different kind of emotion because they're lower in the body. So.
Yeah. Like emotion, when you apply thought to feeling. And then you get the feeling first, and then depending on how you interpret it, you either think it's bad or good.
Well, this is also Greg Braden, I don't know if he's interpreted it into. I mean, they've obviously taken these ancient scripts, going back. I think he said 3,500 years ago, of these three particular models, and obviously because the language then gets translated into Western language, of course, like, you know, emotion, feeling. Then you've also got American ways of expressing it. So I think my advice would be, how do you intuitively, because the heart is intuitive, how do you intuitively feel, I don't know, how do you perceive it to be? And I guess if that's how you perceive it to be, then take that model, and then, not that model, but your own personal model, and then just try and incorporate it. Because you can know a system, but again, that's in your mind. We're not talking about the mind. I mean, we were. To start off the thought, you need to have the seed. But how you imbue it in your own personal universes within you is how you manifest.
Is this moving of energy, like what you were talking about, that you feel it coming up? Is that
Yeah.
what Kundalini is all about?
Possibly. I mean, I've done a little bit of Kundalini in my time, but it's more, I just like to keep things simple and just feel and be more receptive to the inner world, the invisible world. And yeah, it could be related to. It's energy. Kundalini is energy, and yeah. But this goes about, so it's also about, as you're walking in the daytime, you're programming yourself into your subconscious mind. What are you thinking in the daytime as you're walking down the street? Are you thinking pure thoughts? Are you thinking thoughts of doubt? Are you thinking thoughts of joy? You've got to be very aware of these little thoughts. Thought is everything. Because these are little seeds that's going into your subconscious every time. Someone's throwing them into this most fertile soil. We could call this the soil. And then what? The heart is the sun. And then it gives it the light, which is going back to my dream, the heart being the light. It gives it growth. It then sprouts. It manifests. It's creation. Becoming the feeling as an all-day awareness. So remember me saying, like, every thought, be completely aware of these moment to moment. And it's like, how much are you in the present moment? Are you thinking about tomorrow? Are you thinking about half an hour? Are you thinking about the past? The only reality that exists is the now. There is no other reality. It's an illusion. Yes, it does. We have memories of it, and it's nice to sometimes have those memories, and it's what makes up our personalities, in a sense, from the past, and we think about the future. But the feeling can only manifest, or the creation can only become what it is within that present moment. So what I'm saying is, if you have a past thought, and you're thinking of a past thought, and you want to create the emotion, and you're thinking that, okay, I'm now going to try and manifest this, but I think it won't happen. It might happen next week. I'm going to try and manifest next week. It's not going to work. Because the universe doesn't understand, well, it does, but it doesn't manifest things for you unless you're in the present moment, in whatever that thought may be. That's what the ancients were saying. I just want to make that clear. But that's also, I kind of intuitively feel it is that too. I don't want you to say, well, Nick, you know, but yeah.
An interesting thing about this idea of manifestation is that this physical realm, that manifestation is possible in the higher realms, like the etherics or the astrals, but what happens is, because it takes slightly longer, because the energy is more dense, we allow fear and doubt to creep in, and what that does is it dilutes the feeling and then prevents the manifestation from happening.
Right.
And that's what affects everything in our life. So if we're trying to make a life of abundance, because it doesn't happen instantly, we have all these other outside influences
Exactly.
telling us, oh, you're not good enough.
Well, yeah.
Happen.
It's tough.
So this
Really.
starts to play with your energy and it dilutes it, so then it doesn't manifest.
And the conditioning from the system, and the TV, and the newspapers.
So the feeling of creation and manifestation, the feeling has to be kept pure, and it has to be kept, resonant. But once it starts to fall away, then of course it's hard to make that happen.
But it's also about how aware are you of these thoughts. You know what I mean? In from thought to thought to thought. I mean, there's, how many thoughts did it say? Something like 36 million thoughts a day. Something, I can't remember the number. Something on that.
For women.
Yeah, maybe like triple F for women. Yeah, that's a lot of thoughts. Yes.
One more thing. The thought, normally the thought we have during the day or feeling at the moment is individual. I mean, if you have collective thought and collective feeling, it must be more powerful.
Exactly. That's such a great thing to say. Thank you for saying that. Yes, it's because this is what the first video was talking about, how we have this huge electromagnetic field on our hearts. And when you walk into the room, you can feel someone's energy. If they're not in a good mood or whatever, you can sense it, depending on how sensitive you are to it. It's because you're mixing with the energy field, and if you haven't protected yourself or whatever means, and you can, like, I'm an empath. I feel I absorb a lot, and on the tube it is, oh my God, it's tough. It's challenging, and I have so many showers when I come to London to wash off that. I don't know if it's, what is it? It's energetic residue, a lot of Epsom salts on your skin, you know. I sound very anti-human right now. I'm not saying that. I don't. No, okay, with the meditational music. Yeah, no, absolutely.
What I'm trying to say is, if we all feel something good for
Yeah.
a day or something now, would the sum of the feelings be more than the individual one?
But we actually.
Or just be reinforcing each other to center on our own thing.
Well, you are always the master of what you wish to create in your universe, always. We all, each and every one of us has that ability. Now, if we all connect our hearts together, you know that whole saying, have a heart-to-heart with someone. You really do. You connect physically, like, and energetically, heart-to-heart. You do it on a grand scale, on a global scale. I'm going to go out on a whim here and say they've done research on meditation, and they focus clearly on the heart. They say, statistically, they say if you can have 70,000 people meditating at the same time, the vibrational state of the world will suddenly just go flip. Flip meaning into a higher plane of reality. And that's a big thing to say, but the heart is huge. 70,000 out of 6 billion people. It's not much, right? And how they know that is because they did a study. They had about, I think, I can't remember, it was like 3,000 people meditating at the same time. And they did a whole, they had a whole test. I think it could have been, yeah. And they did it for, I think it was a full day, and all the crime rate around the world dropped down to 1% for that particular day. People being more compassionate towards each other. People being more joyful and happy. There's a few odd people still stealing things. But the rest of the time, it was just pure love. And
was so excited about it, and it rained the whole summer until the day it started. The day it stopped, it rained until the day of the Paralympics, and the day the Paralympics stopped, the rain came back. And I really felt that it was something to do with everybody so wanting.
we can affect the weather conditions, I believe. Funny enough, the full video of that Greg Braden story,
I was just about to say that.
you see, yeah, he actually explains an exact story, what you've just said. He went up to this, what was it, like a shaman or something, and he said, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm trying to use that model, as we just saw before, the thought and the emotion, to combine the feeling of what it would feel like in the moment that it was raining. And he's manifesting it. He's pumping out this energy. And then it started to rain in the desert.
There's all these videos about, terror, because actually, even though, it's reading it.
Exactly.
Focus on the good things.
Yeah.
Not to be an ostrich, but positive.
I mean, I saw my TV many years ago, but that's just me, and I don't watch the news. You see, my dad, I love my dad. He's, what is he now, 60, 70 years old, and he's been watching the news daily. And then he watches war films in the day. He goes, oh, I love a good old war film. He doesn't even have a pirate accent, but it adds to the ambiance. And he's very negative about his life. He doesn't believe that anything else is bigger than his physical self. And it's very sad. I've been trying to break into, I said, Dad, do you want to do some meditation? Come on, just for 5 minutes. He says, I am meditating. And his way is just to have a nap after his war film, with the steak and kidney pie in his belly. But that's just my dad. But these guys, they know where it's at. Being in our heart centers is how we treat our wake and dream experience. Moment to moment, like I've just had a baby and he's so in the moment, it's amazing. Like if he cries, you give him some food and he just stops. Because he's just so in the moment. He's not thinking about 5 minutes time, he's not thinking about the past, when he didn't get his dodie in time. He's just completely in the moment.
What is dodie?
Sorry, what you call him? Dummy. Call them dodies in French. Oh no, it's happening. The French is creeping in, no. But yeah, so that's why they say always try and find your inner child. Don't let that die, because that's really, that part of you is really where creation begins. And Never forget about that. I know it's difficult in this world that we live in. It's very serious sometimes. If you can look at it quite seriously, but just put your fairy outfit on one day and just run around the puddles.